Senator from Wyoming.
I want to thank the senators who have spoken for all of their efforts and thought. A lot of times people think that what's being discussed on the floor here is the only thing that's happening with Congress. There are things happening in the background that are probably achieving more than the debates that happen here. A lot of times what you get to see here is the blood on the floor that results in nothing. But everyone recognizes the importance of education and recognizes that there was a significant effort made since 1965 with K through 12 education. It's been renewed several times. In every single instance, it's been renewed in a very bipartisan way. We want that to continue to happen. The value of the Senate and the House is to have a lot of different opinions on how something can be done, and then to bring those together to form something usable in whatever area we're working on. I just can't thank Senators Alexander, Isaacson, Burr, and Kirk enough for the work that they've done in this area. It does help us to focus, and I am working with Senator Harkin to try and come up with a bipartisan bill, and I think we've been making good progress. I've used these parts of the bills that you've heard about as reasons for stepping back and taking a look at what we're really doing to make sure that the states can have as much of a role as possible, but the local people have an even greater role in what's happening in education. And that's where we're trying to keep the focus. And this has been very helpful in my discussions with Senator Harkin to make sure that we stay on track with those things. Senator Alexander mentioned the 9 things, and Secretary Duncan traveled through most of the United States holding listening sessions to see what kinds of problems people had. And he agreed that the 9 things that we had on this list were the problems with No Child Left Behind that needed to be fixed. And Senator Harkin looked at that list and agreed in the same way. And so we've come up with some solutions, and those need to be put into a bill, and that bill needs to be passed this year. Next year we get into presidential elections. I can't see where that's going to make things more bipartisan or help education. There are a number of things that No Child Left Behind did. One is the disaggregation, which did show some problems across the country where kids were being left behind. A lot of times when we focus on education, we focus on the state and we focus on the school district. Once in a while we focus on the school. But what we've been trying to do is get the focus on the kid to make sure that our children are learning what they need to know to be able to survive in this. And that's one of the places that we'll be able to greatly improve as we move on in this. One of the surprises to everybody would probably be to find out that the federal government only requires 1 federal test. You always hear about all the testing the kids have to do across the nation. Well, a lot of that's locally imposed. That's tests that they think are necessary. But the federal government says you need to have 1 at the end of the year, and that's what we've concentrated on with the disaggregation. So there have been a lot of surprises for people as they actually take a look at what that rather voluminous bill has in it. And I think we are moving to a point where we should be able to get something done and get something done relatively quickly. And again, it'll be because of the work of these people that have put together some bills to bring attention to some very specific parts that need some improvement. And I thank you for doing that. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Senator Enzi, and thank you for your leadership.